Start.
First, give a brief.
Okay. So I will give a brief about this question and all. So I will talk about as we discuss about environment, science and technology, current affairs, geography, and the rest of the things I will discuss. Like in detail, I try to note down whatever we are saying, and hopefully this will really benefit you. Under Ashokanagar వచ్చారే park places. Most of you are from Ashokanagar. No issue there.
So please maintain English because most of the anthropology students are from North. So they have also joined. We'll use mostly English, and at the end, like if you have specific doubts. Okay. So basically, this prelims workshop, what is the objective of this workshop? See, what happens is that many a times, like recently, Sir has posted one picture that, so if you give me 6 hours, I'll use 4 to 5 hours for sharpening the axe, right? So that is the main objective of this workshop altogether. Okay. So So you should know how we are going to proceed. So those people who are not interested, they can leave also. Because if you know what you're getting, because some people may be aware about the things, so they may not spend the time again. Okay. So here for prelims, you have 3 things. One is general studies, other is CSAT. And within general studies, you have further static and current affairs. And within CSAT, you have comprehensive reading and then the quantitative aptitude and reasoning. Right. These are the divisions within the syllabus. Right. So now, most of the times, students are confused where exactly they should dedicate the time. Okay. So what happens, like you take geography. People spend 15 days, 20 days. They don't know how many days it's getting completed. And they spend the time, be it history or be it geography, they spend too much of time. Okay, they spend too much of time on one particular subject, and by the time they get to know that lot many things are pending and they have to manage their time, almost 1 or 2 months is finished just by reading geography or history, where you may get the questions or you may not get the question, right? So this happens. So the problem comes with time management. So we are going to see how we should manage our time, where we should dedicate our most of the time, and how to identify your weak areas and how to cover those weak areas. So those things we are going to learn. And second thing, you have different subjects. Right? So polity, economy, geography, history, international relations, and you have international relations. Then you have mapping. You also have ancient art and culture, right? So now you have these many topics. How to cover them? What are the major resources where you should follow? You might have read from NCRTs or you might have read your static books, right? Previously, you might have followed something. But whether is it sufficient? Everybody reads about the historical background acts from Polity. Lakshmikant book they'll take and they'll read the first chapter, historical background of the constitution, right? But despite that, after going to the exam, still they won't be able to solve those questions. Now, are we reading just for the sake of completion, or our motive is to gain the score in the final examination? So in some areas, you should go beyond your basic books. Very few areas that you should identify through themes. But in some areas, you should restrict to your basic books. So we'll also look at the sources that we are going to do, how we should manage. Okay. So these 2 things are the major aspects of today's session, that how you should manage time what should be your sources and how you should utilize these sources smartly. What do I mean by smartly? Minimum efforts, maximum returns. You give, if you're spending 1 hour, what is the return that you're getting? So you have 10 chapters. By reading which chapter, you will get the maximum returns. Okay. Sometimes it's not possible to complete 100% of the syllabus. Not everybody will be able to complete 100% of the syllabus. Right? So, in order to ensure that we are having the maximum efficiency, what we call as efficiency, one is effectiveness. Effectiveness is what you get while reading. Okay, so you spend some 10 minutes, whatever you read, from that, what you understand is the effectiveness. Efficiency is you measure in terms of results, right? So effectiveness and efficiency is the ultimate target that we are going to have today for this session, through the time management and source. Okay, so now we have polity, IR, economy, history, geography, then science and technology, environment and ecology, these are the major areas you have. So, okay, within history, you have all other further divisions: ancient, medieval, modern, art and culture, everything. Okay, yeah. So, within these itself, all related current affairs, right? So, these are the things. Sir will be dealing with polity, economy, history, this part. I'll be dealing with current affairs, geography, CSAT, geography, SNT, and environment and ecology. Again, with respect to paper 2, CSAT also, sir will be telling you how to manage your time and what are the sources you have to refer. And within that, where you should emphasize, okay, because you have unlimited resources for prelims. So there is no dearth of resources. Now the problem is how to utilize these resources, which resource you have to follow, most importantly, which resource you should avoid. Okay, so in prelims, most important thing is that you should know what not to read. Okay, so we keep on reading so many things. In the beginning years, we tend to commit those mistakes that we take XYZ resource. Suddenly, some other person will come and out of the blue, 30 questions have come from my textbook alone, and you can see. We don't know that whether the book is made after the prelims or before the prelims, but definitely new things come before you to distract you. So, first, you should draw your boundary. Draw your boundary today, because this should be your New Year resolution that I am going to follow certain resources. Irrespective of what is going to come from outside resources, I am not going to touch it. Okay, first you limit your resources. You decide which resources you are going to follow. We are going to tell you the most important resources. And if anything you feel extra, definitely you can add if you feel it's important. And decide your boundary, which resources you are going to decide. And once you have fixed your resources, next additional learning should be through tests and practice only, not through any new resource. Do not touch any new resource after this. Okay? Right? Yes. Yeah, you can. Right? So these are the resources which you have to limit. Today, this is your first resolution that we are not going to go beyond these resources. Aim, I should not use Telugu here. So whatever you are planning today, just decide. Sit, take half an hour more, 1 hour more, talk to your seniors, what resource I can include, what resource I have to exclude. Today only you have to decide. Just fix those resources. So we will be telling the most things, but still if you have any doubts, you can reach out to us or you can talk to your friends, seniors and decide. Because what happens, this is the major distraction that in the process of prelims. Because we tend to go for new material day after day. Okay, so here we'll tell you what are the major problems we generally face and how we are going to resolve it also. This is one thing. Okay. So now sir will take up the first part.
వేడవుతుంది ఇప్పుడే తిన్నా కదా చెమట చల్లగా ఇక లోపల వేడేసరికి మళ్ళీ చీకటి అవుతుంది మళ్ళీ చల్లగా అవుతుంది.
Right. So, sure, headline or just something. Right. I'll be dealing with, so we'll discuss about history, polity, economy, right? IR. Polity, like IR included, right? So, let's start with economy. Let me ask you a question. Is it clear? So, have you read NCERT's economy? So mostly 11th and 12th NCERTs, right? 8th, 9th, 6th to 10th, they are very basics. Most questions are not asked from them. So 11th and 12th NCERTs, mostly macroeconomics. Once or twice they ask microeconomics, the supply, demand, basic things, but generally they ask from banking, budget, right? So the first sources you have to use for economy, 11th and 12th NCERTs, right? How many of you have not done? Those who have not touched 11th and 12th NCERTs, so immediately sorry for the disturbance. Like, is it clear? Clear? Yes, right. So the first source for our economy will be 11th and 12th NCERTs, right? Most of the chapters, budget, and the basic concepts like GDP, GNP, all will be covered, right? So this is the major source. Next, you have to read any standard book. Take any standard book, right? I don't suggest particular, because any standard book, they'll have some important concepts, some extra concepts like poverty, inflation, right? In banking also new types of banks, the updated one. The 11th and 12th NCERT, you only have the basic one, banking, right? CRR, SLR, yes. Those who have read NCERT, you know it. In banking also, they just give you basic bank rate, what is that, right? In the standard book, just you update your information, latest banks, latest things, what is happening, right? That is again, it will be like revision also. So you go for some standard book and remember some important chapters: banking, budget, right? Poverty, inflation. All standard books will have these kind of chapters, right? Trade, capital. In the trade also you have current account, capital account. All these basics will be covered in standard book. Then you have to economic survey. Economic survey, do gist. Don't read the whole economic survey. Not necessary. There can be questions from economic survey, 1 or 2 questions can be asked, but try to do gist. All the institutes, everywhere, gist is available, right? Economic survey and budget. Budget also gist. You understand by gist, right? Summary, simply summary. Just read the summary of budget, economic survey, right? Yeah. Then test series solutions. This is also very important. Whatever test series you do, focus on solutions. Because what they do, any test series, they try to cover important questions which generally students miss. they cover those questions only. That's the reason many of the students do not score well in test series. Why? They all important, everybody reads. Those miscellaneous topics, those topics which are not covered will be asked in test series. Once you read solutions, that are also covered, right? So that is how you have to use test series. Enough. Our economy, sources, limited. What you have to do? Revision only. Remember, I'll tell you the reason why. If there is a question about FPI, what is FPI? Right. What happens? Everybody knows what is FPI and FDI, foreign direct investment. But what they do, they try to ask you sometimes in detail. You get confused because we don't revise. We feel we know it. Or I know FPI. I'll go into some advanced, chapter or something else content. No, whatever we read, we have to revise again and again. Don't think that these are basic. They want some basics will be asked again and again, and you will do mistakes in basics only, right? So what we have to do? We have to revise these only till our prelims. You're not going to touch any new resource. What are we going to do? 11th and 12th NCERT basics will be done. It will not take much time. I'm telling you. Give me 2 days, 3 days, done. Right? If you spend 3 to 4 hours, in 2 days you can finish 11th and 12th NCERTs. I said, be clear. Before doing all this thing, again, one important fact. 5 to 10 years. This is for all. Whatever subject we do, before we start reading all these things, our important themes we should be covered from 5 to 10 years. You take a paper, right? You take a paper, you note down economy themes, you write down this. You're not going to write the question. You look at some question, right? I have PYQs, 24 PYQs. I'll tell you, I'll show you. So I'll tell you what is the theme. Like when you look at the question, how to how to make it into a theme. Any question you see. So did you note it down? The sources and 5 to 10 years PYQs. Before we start reading any subject, first, maybe today, when you start, look at 1 or 2 years paper. Note down some themes in your book. Then start reading. Start reading those themes only. We are not going to read chapter wise. We give what we do in school. We follow that pattern. First chapter, second chapter. There is no pattern here. This is competitive exam. The theme which is repeatedly asked will be our highest priority. The theme which is not asked, we are not going to touch it. Only if we touch it, we just know the basics. So we are not going to give equal priority, equal importance to all the chapters. So what I mean, banking chapter should be well read, right? Many a times banking chapter was asked. Then budget. Many a times budget was asked. Then inflation related questions, right? Or poverty related question. So those we will prioritize it. This is what you have to do. I won't, we can't spoon feed you, because even if I tell you, your mind won't emphasize it. If it has to emphasize, you have to do it. You have to note down the theme. Then only you will feel that this is important. Then you will read. You will spend more time on that question, that topic. You understand why we are asking you to do it? If somebody gives you, your brain will not accept that. It will not know how much time you have to spend on that topic, right? And one more thing you try to do, download the original papers from the site. Download it to remove fear. Right? Anyway, you are going to solve mock test and all, but more than that, you have to solve these tests also. Regularly you do it as a time pass. Just take out 24 paper. If you do not know, even if you do not attempt, mark the answers. Then start reading them. But always you should have that paper in your mind. This type, the question paper. This is the pattern you're going to get in your next 25 attempt, right? This is a question paper you're going to have. The same question paper will be, you will be having. So you should, that should be in your mind. How question will be asked, how statements are asked, how much content you read doesn't matter if you do not have that pattern. I'm telling you, this is what I always stress in my channel. That always have that UPSC mindset, not institute mindset or not nothing else. Always UPSC mindset, how UPSC questions are asked, right? So for that purpose, 3 or 4 years paper, you download it. Today itself, you do this. Keep it with you for next 6 months. And whenever you feel like you want to attempt some exam or something, just attempt these papers only. Even if you have marked answer also, again you attempt it. Look at the question, look at the statements, right? So sir will discuss about this question. Repeatedly asked this 21, this one. June 21 every year, which of the following light experience sunlight more than this type of questions are repeatedly asked. Why you should not make mistakes in these type of questions? Go and check 3-4 years paper. When I was writing, I frequently saw this and I made it correct. Very simple question. Where are the economic questions? Right. See. Pen analysis. I will ask you, you have to tell me. I'll show you the question. Have you ever done this, work like this? Looking at a question and then noting down the theme. Have you done that previously? Okay, okay. 44, 40. What was the question number? 42. Good. You're concentrating. 40. You can take this question also, right? Yeah, now tell me. When you look at this question, tell me the chapters. From there, this question is asked. Non-banking financial. Banking chapter only. In banking only, you have banking and like banks and non-financial this thing, right? Then foreign institutional investors. This one, which chapter? This capital market, money market, you all have right. From there, this stock market and all. Then your stock market. 3 chapters. You understand? Simply, you have to focus those questions. The questions are asked from them. What is the question asked? You can just say stock exchange can offer separate trading platform for the debts. You know stock exchanges. Very important actually. Mumbai Stock Exchange, right? What do they do? What are equities? What are equities? What are debentures? This is a basic concept. You have to know the difference between equities and debentures, right? So from their questions are asked. You understand? Next question, just check. Right. With reference to the Indian economy, collateral borrowing and lending obligation. Simply. Now tell me which chapter, like what you have to read to answer this question. This is completely a conceptual question. See what they do sometimes. overall understanding of the economy is very much very important. So everything like basics you have to know. With basics, you can answer these questions. What is collateral? What is collateral lending actually? Yes, you have to give something, right? And lending obligations. So what are the instruments? Where you get? Stock market, do you give collateral? No. Then bond market, you don't give any collateral there. Money market, simple. So you understand the point. Because we have to discuss other subjects also. I'm just trying to give. Note down the themes. Look at the questions. Even you read so much content, irrelevant content, you're never going to, you finish all books, standard books, everything. Without knowing what is asked in the examination, you will never clear this exam. Right? Understand this. Right? So, economy, you got it right? We come to polity. Polity, I think, very easy. These days, previously, they used to ask difficult questions. And these days, polity, very easy. Only 1 or 2 questions will be difficult. Some controversy questions, and sometimes they delete the question also. 1 or 2, but don't focus on that. Polity, I think, do I need to explain what you have to do for polity? There is only one thing, Lakshmikant. Right? Along with that, you have to do one thing, I'll tell you. Current affairs, you have to do it. Because latest amendments, latest acts, bills, they won't ask you. Bills very rarely they ask. Unless until it is very contrary, they won't ask you bill. Right? Only bill, if it is going to be an act, they will ask you. Right? So the latest additions only you have to read from other. And in Lakshmikant also, I'm telling you, this is going to be bulky, right? What we are going to, let me note. Note. No. Right. So, right. Polity. See, as we all know, Lakshmikant, standard. Within Lakshmikant, see, because this is going to be very bulky, it is almost 500, 600 pages. You are not going to remember each and every page, right? Previously also I mentioned, Lakshmikant, first important chapter, fundamental rights, right? So I said FR is more important. Within FR, again I'll tell you, some more articles. How many articles are there? Tell me FR, fundamental rights, where it start? I read it long. I did not go and check the book, but I remember. You are doing it now. I read it long back, 1 year, 1.5 year back, when I gave my last prelim. 12 to 35. What is 12? Definition. So that is included. Right? Within this 12 to 35, there are few articles which are important. Tell me those articles. Okay, if I ask you, you will tell me. But you have to tell me why they are important. Why they are asking. That is the question. I can tell you 14, 19, 21. Anybody can tell you. But tell me why. What is the reason they are important? That is, once they have asked this, Article 14, rule of law, all are equal before law, right? This one. Why this article is important? Without this article, there's not, like, you cannot, rule the country, because there's a basis on which we are governing. So everybody must know what is Article 14. What is there in that? You have to read in detail. You don't have to read other articles in detail, but you have to read what is Article 14. Article 19, you have many clauses, sub-clauses also. Right? 21. Again, why 19 important? Freedom of expression. If you do not have that right, you cannot live in this country. You don't feel like living in this country if the government do not give you that right. That is, I'm saying, there is every question they ask in UPSC, there is a purpose. Right? Once you know the purpose, you'll study it well. Now I know the purpose. That is the reason now I focus on these articles. 19, 21. 21, very important, life and liberty, personal liberty. In that, there are very other judgments. See, through judgments, they have expanded it. Article 21, initially it was small. through later court judgments, they made it very large. You have to know that for that reason only you have to read current affairs sometimes. Because every time some more the other thing comes, this will be a controversial article, court will give some judgment, then UPSC will pick it, they'll ask you. But related to 21. Even if you do not know, I'll tell you some logic, maybe it won't work sometime, but I'm telling you, you see sometimes these articles in the then go for it. Earlier, now you do not have that options like now only one, only two, but earlier they used to have options, right? So if you see that article, that would be the answer for that question generally. That is just, I'm just telling that because the importance of that, those articles are like that. If I used to see Gandhi in any question, Gandhi is more important. You can go for Gandhi if you do not know the question. Right? Definitely they have to ask about Gandhi. Because every civil servant should know. Even if common people do not know about Gandhi, it's fine. But as a bureaucrat, you have to know. He's there everywhere. Some other leaders, some other personalities, some other articles. In economy, there are some concepts. As a civil servant, you must know. That is the reason they will ask questions only, those important only. So they were not going to ask you irrelevant questions. You got this point? Keep this in mind. They are not going to ask you irrelevant. Show me any question, I'll tell you the importance. There is for example, in science and technology, Sir will deal, again, I will not get into all this. Same thing, in science and technology, environment, there are certain the areas where, where you have to know it, like those things you have to know it. Like, let's take biosphere reserves. How many biosphere reserves are there? 18 biosphere reserves. How many of them are, UNESCO reserve? What is that? Man. How many are there part of that? 12, right? You have to know. Why you have to know these biosphere reserves? Why? What is the importance of biosphere reserve? But there is another. See, there are national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserve. But you don't have to know all wildlife. Wildlife sanctuaries will be in 500, 600 wildlife sanctuaries. You don't have to know, right? National parks, again 100 above, 120, 140 or something. You don't have to know. But national parks, wildlife sanctuaries within this biosphere reserves is important. There will be a large area which is unique, which has its unique characteristics. Every biosphere reserve. What is one of the example of biosphere reserve? Give me an example. Right. I'll not again. If I start, I'm telling you that is the importance. I'm telling you have to know these things. Randomly, you just read. When somebody asks you, you won't be able to answer it. Then you're not in the right direction. Simply, right? So I said fundamental rights. Then you have DPSP, very important. So these are the things you have to focus on before this examination. Polity will be very easy, I'm saying. Right? Current affairs, Rajinikanth, done. No need to touch any NCERTs for polity. Next we have, right. Next, we'll talk about history. How? History, again, very, very vast. Once you start it, it will never end. This is the only subject where you start it, but there is no end. Other subjects, at least you can feel that you have done something, you are satisfied. You will never be satisfied with the subject. So better, and for this, direction is more important. Right? Listen carefully how you have to deal. I'll tell you. Themes, 11th, 12th. You have that theme, ancient, medieval, modern. 3 themes are there in 11th and 12th standard. Don't touch world history if you don't know world history. So only I think 12th standard, I think. 12th standard, you have 3 themes, right? Must. I'll show you questions how they are picked from there. There are boxes in that. Very, very useful boxes. From there only the main questions are also asked. Main question, once they are asked about Muhammad bin Tughlaq's slave system during Muhammad bin Tughlaq. From the NCERT only, even optional students, I think that was asked in optional, sorry. That was there in NCERT, and I couldn't find in other standard books. Slave system how slaves were used during Muhammad bin Tughlaq. For spy system, for other purposes, they used slaves. So I'm telling, those boxes are very, very important. Even if you do not read the content, that normal part, look at the boxes. But revise them. Again, history is more about memory. You can't just remember just like something other economy or something. So you have to do repeated revisions. Limited, again, don't need to read too much from there. Mostly boxes, right? Then what you do, you can go for Tamil Nadu, or because see what happens, people start with various sources history. So if you have done Tamil Nadu, stick to Tamil Nadu. If you have started with old NCRTs, I think these are all new aspirants. Previously, they used to read old NCRTs. R.S. Sharma, Bipin Chandra, Satish Chandra, right? Satish Chandra for medieval. Then R.S. Sharma for ancients. Then Bipin Chandra for mod. Either you have done that or Tamil Nadu. You can do either of them along with 11th and 12th, 12th themes. Those are very important. Then you do either Tamil Nadu or old NCERT. Then art and culture, fine arts. There is one book. Is it 11th or 12th? I always get confused with that. 11th, right? 11th. Very important. You have paintings, you have sculpture, you have architecture. Three important things. Architecture is there, sculpture is there, paintings covered. You have to do it. Done. If you have done spectrum for modern and stick to it, then don't touch other things. Only spectrum. I'm telling you spectrum, how you have to use spectrum. You have summaries at the end. If you have not read the whole spectrum also, it's fine. What you do, go to the summary page of that spectrum. Like at the end of the chapter, you have the summary page. Read that. You note it down. If you have, how many of you have done spectrum? Those who have done spectrum, what you do, only that part only, summary. Now, you do it repeated. That's it. Then Satish Chandra or old answer to Tamil Nadu for ancient and medieval. Right? Clear? You're not going to do much. Even if you do it. Okay, right. So, even if you read too much history, you're not going to answer it. And here, some themes will be there. Like literature. Every year they ask. Just Google it. ChatGPT or something. Old books and writers, authors. Literature is asked. Right? Then Buddhism, Jainism. Themes are there. So read them in detail. Some better, in a better way. Some chapters. The rest of the chapters normal. Spectrum, summary, must. Right? Done. Not going to do more. Probability will be 50%. Even if you do too much, only optional students will go up to 80-90%. They will make it correct. Rest of the people around 50. Right? But in economic polity, 80-90%, 100% you can be so short of the answer. So time you have to invest on history should be limited. Don't run behind history. That is not going to be very rewarding. Run behind environment. Run behind science and technology, economy, polity. Not right. Even for mains, limited. Few questions. Science and technology question can be asked. Art and architecture, paintings, one personality or freedom, national movement. That's it. Done. There itself you have to end. Done. Right. Then again, test series also solutions, because some current affairs related history is also little dynamic. New excavations and new evidences come. New leaders. They talk about government. Keep on bringing new leaders into limelight. Right. Test series solutions. Note it down. This is done. Right. Next, what we have? IR. Completely. You are not going to find it anywhere. Newspapers. And any current affairs magazine. Current affairs, because some countries in news, some countries where these wars are taking place, droughts. In mostly Africa, they'll ask you this drought places, drought areas, lakes which are dried. So those which area. Mostly it will be covered in newspaper. If you're not reading newspaper, start reading newspaper for next 3 months. Till March you can read newspaper every day. Right? Try to have that broad idea, because they'll ask you repeated one only. Repeated that will be news 4 or 5 times or 10 times something. Then they'll ask that country. Right? Newspaper and some magazine, any magazine. Right? They'll give you some important countries in news. Right? Done. IR. Next, what we have? almost have covered economy, history, here, polity, right? So sir will discuss about geography. CSAT will discuss at the end. Once you finish GS, CSAT at the end I will discuss, right? Hope is it clear? Questions I will answer at the end. Let's finish like environment, science and technology, they are very important.
So, like, Sir has already taken 4 of the subjects: geography, science and tech, environment, ecology, and current affairs. You see, every year, around 30 to 35 questions come from this area. If you include current affairs, it will go till 45 to 50. So, what happens is that most of the times people don't allocate enough amount of time for all the subjects equally. They think that this static part alone can help them sail through. But you cannot take that risk. In some of the papers, definitely the static subjects like polity, economy, history, if you do that, you'll be able to sail through. But there are some years where UPSC has made a twist and it tried to give those areas difficult, and other areas, current affairs and science and technology, environment, they gave it simple. But it's dominated by agriculture, these papers, mostly from agriculture or current affairs or science and tech and environment current affairs. It's dominated by them. And those who did it well, they were able to sail. So you have to maintain a balance between both your static and your current affairs. You can't take the risk of emphasizing more on one part of the syllabus. Okay, so first thing, keep in mind, some people will think, okay, I'll read the static, I'll forget the dynamic part, current affairs. Or some people will emphasize too much on current affairs and they don't do the static well. So first thing is balancing your static and dynamic aspect of the syllabus. Okay, so these things are important. Just have these basic ideas like limiting your resources, balancing static and the dynamic. These things should be your primary core principles. For anything, you have core principles. For your preparation of prelims, this should be your core principles. Now I'll take up the individual subject. So coming to geography. Geography. Okay. So what kind of questions are asked generally? Either they'll ask with respect to climatology, oceanography, very rarely landforms related. And other thing is that in climatology also, they either focus on the flora and fauna, mostly. So we can't completely separate geography and environment. In some of the questions, both are overlapping. Okay, so you read the forest types in geography as well, you read it in environment as well. So environmental geography, what we call, right? So that is very important. So in geography, the basic resources that you have to keep: 11th and 12th class NCERT, okay, 11th and 12th NCERT. Yeah. So
Then come here. Come.
11th and 12th NCERT. So you should be clear with it. See what happens, there are two things that you need to understand here. First is just reading the book. Just reading the book will not help in UPSC. See, most of the times what students think is that when they are reading the book, they'll understand English. Okay, so they know the English better, they'll understand it. They think that once they understood that English part, it's done. No, you need to understand the concept behind it. So always ensure that when you're reading NCERTs, there is deeper meaning to that what is being mentioned. If you're not focusing on that deeper meaning, rather you're trying to think that it's in isolation, and if you understand that literature, that is sufficient, then you're taking wrong step there. So ensure that you're understanding the deeper meaning that is involved in this NCERT textbooks. Okay, so there is some meaning behind it. You have read your NCERTs during 6th, 7th, and 8th, 9th standards also. But now if you read the same textbooks, you look at it very differently, right? So the same meaning you did not understand then. So it happens with you also. In the first reading, NCERT looks different. In the second reading, it looks different. In the third reading, it looks different. So don't come to conclusion with the meanings for the first reading itself. So first, give a reading like newspaper. Just give a rough reading. So what is there? Try to understand. So then you'll find some areas that where you cannot understand. Okay, it looks little complex. There you can take some help. There are so many YouTube videos available today with respect to. Okay, so with respect to NCERT, there are so many videos available. You just click the concept. There are good explanations, and I don't remember exactly the name of the sir. NCERT Amit Sen Gupta, right? So the sir's videos are good. Okay, so you can watch those videos if you are not clear with any of the small concepts. Okay, so for NCERT, you can understand that meaning, because many a times we don't interrelate the concepts. Okay, you will read one concept, you will try to read it in isolation, but it is related to other concepts. So in UPSC, what they do is they link 2 or 3 concepts and they'll give. It is from NCERT only, but students think that okay, it's not mentioned in any chapter specifically. It's not necessary, right? So they are trying to test your analytical skills. So they'll interlink. So that part, don't miss it. So people will read the textbooks, NCERT textbooks, but they'll miss what exactly is behind it. So when you have to check whether you're reading correctly or not, what you would be doing, you have to take up the questions. Okay. You have to take up the questions, MCQs on those particular topics. It has been created by so many people. There are so many question banks available outside, or you can take any test series, give the questions. So then you'll get to know, okay, if you're going wrong somewhere, don't treat tests as something which is going to judge you, not to test your performance, but it is only as a source of learning. Okay, so in order to make your learning additional, so to learn more things where you're going wrong, where you have to improve, for that purpose you're giving the test series, not for testing your ability. Most of the people think that they'll check their performance, how they're performing. That you can check at the later point of time by giving your grand test or mock test after 2 to 3 revisions. But these sectional topic-wise tests or subject-wise tests, these are to improve your understanding and where you're going wrong. Okay, so with respect to geography, these two are most sufficient. And next is mapping. You should learn the atlas. Okay, so many of the people still don't know, or they're new to atlas even now. Okay, they're new to atlas even now. It's okay. Even if you are starting now also, there is enough amount of time to cover everything. So if you don't have access to good maps, you can reach out to me. So on the Ace with Ease portal, I'll try to upload those maps, or you can reach out on the WhatsApp. So here I'll try to upload those maps, because continent wise, yeah, 807682200. So, okay, so you take continent wise maps. First you take Asia, then you learn the physical geography, that like what are the mountains, what are the rivers. Okay, so then you try to know about the climate. So like this continent wise, you try to map it. See, math and mapping, you can only learn by practicing, not by reading it. People think that I'll read all the maps together or I'll learn all the concepts of mathematics. No, unless and until you solve a problem, you won't be able to learn a concept of mathematics. Similarly, mapping also. You have to use pen and paper, take the physical and the political maps and try to mark them. And don't try to do every small river that you have. Okay, so in the map, in the content, whatever is being provided, there we'll try to provide you what are the important things you can go through. Mostly important things only will provide, and rest of the things we'll learn through current affairs. Okay, so this mapping part, 11th and 12th NCERT, this would be sufficient. Okay, so if you're not clear with your basics, then I think you should take someone's help. Okay, so that's one thing. So this is with respect to geography, and this will help you learn. And I told you, right, current affairs. Okay, current affairs, it's one of the most important thing for mapping part. Okay, what is in news consistently over 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years down the line, that becomes important. Not once upon a time there found a dead body or a fossil in a lake, then that comes in the news. But people start reading about it. So don't need to read each and everything, but you have to emphasize on those areas where there is a probability. So this is geography. Then coming to science and technology. See, again, science and technology, it's tough to differentiate between the static and current, because everything is static and everything is current. So first you should have basics. Suppose you have space. Within the space, you should know what is an orbit, what is a satellite, what are the different types of orbit, what are the differences between each orbit. Okay, there is geostationary orbit, geosynchronous orbit. What is the exact difference between them? And what is happening with respect to orbit? The space junk is being created. So in order to, space junk is very dangerous. If fast moving, a small 1 to 10 centimeters piece of junk can destroy all the satellites in the universe, or especially which is launched by humans. They can destroy all the satellites. So it becomes so important. Our entire system is dependent on the satellites now. So we need to know about it. So what are the measures taken by India in order to deal with the space junk, or any other national, international space agencies? That you have to look at. So when it comes to space technology, ISRO becomes an important website where you frequently see, you need not mug up things, but what you need to do is that just scroll through. Okay, you can scroll through the website of ISRO. So there you can look at which are the most highlighted ones. Okay, so there might be some important mission, Aditya L1. That becomes an important mission, a mission for India, because we want to observe the sun and the space beyond that. Right. So in a similar manner, you have other missions also like Chandrayaan 3, 4, whatever it's going to come. So whatever that is highlighted, that should be emphasized, not all the things. So when you go through, see, even UPSC wants to ask something very important. It doesn't ask which is irrelevant. Okay, so see, always there will be 2 to 3 questions or 4 to 5 questions, which will come from some corners of the websites or the textbooks. But that you cannot deal. Okay, that part you cannot deal it individually. Because how many books you'll read, how many websites you'll learn, where you'll go. It's not possible. So we should know our limits. So with respect to those limits, we should focus on important parts. So with respect to space, ISRO. So again, basics are very, very important. Then you have energy. So in the energy chapter, you have to know there are different types of energy, renewable energy. Okay, so bioenergy. Then again, within that, various classifications are there. So quantum energy. So with respect to quantum energy, new developments are happening, right? So these things you should try to understand. First, basics are very important. The first and foremost thing. Once you are clear with the basics part, Then current affairs, if you can follow, one magazine is good enough, and that should be very simple and to the point. If you are taking any magazine which is having voluminous bulk amount of information, you cannot read. You may read once, but from UPSC point of view, reading means at least you should be able to do it 3 times. From UPSC point of view, if you are reading something, that at least it should be possible to read 3 times minimum. 3 times is also not sufficient from my point of view. You should read more number of times only, but at least 3 times. So don't choose anything that is voluminous, that is having too much. Important, to the point, lucid, comprehensive. Right. So
Students.
I'm extremely sorry. Sorry for the disturbance. So we are dealing with respect to energy, right? So within science and technology, you have major areas: space, okay, then other is energy, and then other is technologies. Okay, information technology, nanotechnology, biotechnology. So within biotechnology, again, it becomes very important that every year one or the other question comes. Okay, so you have different types of technology. In these technologies, what you have to do is that you have to emphasize on the basics. First, basics completely you should understand. What is it? What is DNA? What is chromosome? Just like we have discussed in the previous session also, that what is DNA, chromosome, what is genome, what are the different types of projects that have taken up by India or Department of Biotechnology in India and other countries as well. Why is it important? Because today we are able to deal with some of the dangerous diseases. Okay, in the past we are not able to deal it. Today we can correct the genetic disorders by using these technologies. So henceforth it becomes very important because those are called as revolutionary technologies. See, what is difference between evolution and revolution? Evolution means change happening slowly, gradually over a period of time. But if there is some change that is all of a sudden creating a huge impact, that's what we call as revolution, right? So these technologies are creating a huge impact, and AI is bringing a huge transformation. The change, like recently, Google has developed one of its computers, right? So that can solve almost 1,000 times, 10,000 times faster than the supercomputers. You can see the level of impact it is creating. So what happens because of that? These kind of technologies, it's very difficult to predict whether. If you see IMD success rate of prediction, people make fun of it, right? IMD's prediction, because there are so many variants. Let's see what, if you are aware about algebra, so X, Y, Z equations are there, right? So there are so many variables in it. It is difficult to calculate, and those kind of technologies we don't have that much of money to employ. Slowly we are moving towards it. We are building our supercomputers, quantum computers. We are trying to do it, but it gets difficult. That's why these kind of technologies, becomes very important, right? So whenever you're doing it, try to focus on your basics and then current affairs. So combine it with current affairs. See, for each and every part of the syllabus, okay, for each and every part of the syllabus, every subject, what we'll do is static, current. But while doing static, because if you see science and tech questions, in the question, you'll have one static statement, one current statement. So when you know even static statement also, sometimes you'll be able to solve the question. But since prelims is getting tougher and tougher, they're asking for only one option, only two options, only three options. Then these kind of questions, if you have to solve accurately, then you have to know both the statements. Okay, so in this scenario, you have to emphasize on the both. In the static part, science and technology, what is the resource? I'll tell you, for biotechnology, it is DBT. You can refer to Department of Biotechnology, then ISRO for space. Okay, and for other things, it is current affairs. And one important textbook that is available outside, one good textbook, what I felt is P. Ravi Agrahari sir's textbook is good, Science and Technology. Ravi Agrahari. McGraw-Hill, Tata McGraw-Hill publication, Science and Technology. Okay, so this book is good to deal with science and technology. So your basics mostly will be covered, and science and tech, like static, if you, sorry, current updates, if you can read from any of the magazine, most of the things will. But this is a little bulky book, so be very careful. Okay, you don't try to do everything from the book, just be very careful. Okay, so it's more bulkier than Lakshmikant. This is with respect to science and tech. Then coming to environment. See, you have your basic 9, 10, 11, 12 chapters of NCRT. So that you can do. Don't read too much of biology. Read this first, 9, 10, 11, 12 chapters. And then you can go for any of the books. Like you can take up Shankar IAS. If updated version you have to take up. And more colorful version is PMF IAS. But when you are reading those things, don't try to read from the textbook alone. Try to make your short notes, because that's 500, 600 pages. Once you read, you cannot read it again. You feel it bored. Okay, sometimes you feel bored, sometimes you feel bulky, sometimes you feel disinterested. So that's why when you're reading for the first time, try to make short notes and try to revise those short notes later. So don't read the book again and again. Okay, that's why short notes is important for environment, because the books are very bulky. For science and tech also, understanding the concept is important, and then short notes. Okay, this part, again, along with this, you have to add current affairs. So sometimes some people follow Ravi Agrahari sir also for environment and ecology. You check once, like whichever you feel comfortable, you can refer it. So these are the textbooks which I would suggest for geography, environment, and science and technology. For science and technology, mostly it is authentic sources, websites that you have to look at. There you will find the highlights. Then anyhow, those things will be covered in most of the magazines. They'll cover it. But you should also know whether it's important or not. Okay. So here, first, there was one doubt. For polity, sir said it is Lakshmikant. There was a question here that what about political science NCRTs? Yeah. So within that also, that day itself, sir did not talk about it, because we have released a video how to study polity in 14 days. So there I have already mentioned, within the NCRTs, there are some areas, some chapters where you should study. So that video is available on YouTube in the same Ace with his, you can search it. There in that video, which chapters of NCRTs you have to read, because development of the constitution. Okay, so the constitutional development chapter is important, because there you have terminologies like social capital, what is liberty, positive liberty, negative liberty. So these kind of terminology you have to understand better, then that's important. Okay, so you have to read that also. That's not an escape. But sir, what he meant to say is that you cannot cross the Lakshmikant for polity because it becomes too much. So anything too much in UPSC is dangerous. Now, other than static part of science and tech, environment and geography, then we have current affairs. See, I told you one of the easiest way to deal science and tech and environment is first understanding the basics, reading one book. You decide which book you are going to read. Go, start, take the books, observe it, watch the reviews, what you want to do it. Finalize your resource. After finalizing your resource, sit, read, and whatever is important, make notes. Your handwriting and your handwritten notes will help you a lot. If you can revise a book twice, then you'll revise your handwritten notes at least 5 times. More number of revisions, more ability to retain things. So ultimately, better outcome. So there is a question. Could you please repeat the NCERT books and chapters for environment? See, what I'll do, whatever we are talking here, I'll try to convert it into a document. So just on the given WhatsApp number, you just drop a message. I'll send you the entire document and the resource list, whatever we are discussing. Okay, so it creates a disturbance moving back and forth. Okay, so just you drop a message, you send that we need a PDF of the resources. I'll keep the link of it also on the status. So there also you can download directly. Whatever sir has explained, whatever I'm explaining. So with science and tech environment, short notes, if you have, you can revise better. And then again, it comes to current affairs. Now, current affairs, it has become one of the dangerous parts. 12 months, each month 100 to 200 pages. 12 months is 2400 pages. 2400 pages means if you take, it will be more than 1 lakh lines. Can we remember it? It's impossible. It's not possible for any topper also. So here you have to play smart, right? So within current affairs, first, what you need is comprehensiveness. That means somebody who is doing it comprehensively. That means they are covering all major things. PIB, The Hindu, Indian Express, down to earth. Okay. Sometimes there are other resources for science and technology, sky.org. Okay. Sky News and physics.org. There are some important websites. Whether are they covering them? Comprehensiveness is one of the important characters. After that, whether they are doing it everything, but authenticity. Like, okay, so comprehensive means they are covering everything, all subjects, then authenticity. So if you have to read, you should know that where this has come. Then you can check, okay, whether it's important or whether it's not important. So either you should have the source links. Okay, so authenticity of the source used is important. If some random topic has, see now UN will fund thousands of projects every year. Just because UN has funded something, if they keep on adding all those projects, then you are getting diverted to non-important things. So that's why when you have those resources clear, okay, so this person has referred to this. If you have source link, then you can decide, oh, I don't think this is important. I will refer only to the important ones, because out of 100 questions, hardly static part, maximum if they are strong, they'll know 40, static and current. They'll play with possibility and they'll cross some 24, 25. So it's 65 questions maximum. So now 35 questions, anyhow you don't know, right? If you do well, it will come to 25. So 25 questions you should not bother about. You should not bother about those 5 or 6 questions which are coming from nowhere. You don't see it anywhere in the normal resources. And if those questions you see and get disheartened, then what happens is you'll try to divert yourself from the main sources to those kind of questions. See, always what happens is there is so much of greenery around, but what you can see is this white dot only. Similarly, in the 100 questions paper, what happens is that students emphasize on only those 3 to 4 questions which they don't know. Or they are asking some random questions. Tomorrow, XYZ person will come and say that it is from our resource. Now you read our resource now. So this question has come from our booklet only. Okay, one question has come or 2 questions have come. Even if you don't do 10 questions, also 90 questions, if you are focusing, still you will clear the prelims. So don't run after this 1 or 2 things. Don't bother about them. Try to deal the things in a holistic manner. Deal the subject basics. Okay. So one is comprehensiveness, authenticity. Then you should have it in lucid manner. So if each topic is 1.5 page, or it is in complex language, then we cannot remember them, or we cannot understand. It will take so much time. Right? So these 3 things, you can follow any magazine or anyone, whatever it may be. So I don't recommend this or that, but these are the things that should be ensured. Okay. And now, in order to have good command over current affairs, what you should be doing? First thing, every day you decide 2 hours maximum. Okay, that 2 hours is the maximum time that you have to allocate. In these 2 hours, you should read 20 to 25 topics. So it average of 20. Okay. And these 20 to 25 topics, after reading, go and attempt some quiz. Go and attempt some quiz of any institute or whatever the resource you have. Attempt the quiz. So what happens is that when you start applying what you know, you'll remember for long period of time. So daily read 20 to 25 topics, keep 2 hours of time. So now you have almost 150 days, right? So considering it's 140 or 130, because 20 days is buffer time. If you remove 30 days for revision also, okay, complete revision. So 100 days, 100 into 20 topics is almost 2000 topics. More than this, nobody can read or retain. So whatever you are reading, read important, read the right one, spend some 20 minutes in playing the quiz and knowing the things again, and next try to attempt the tests. So regularly give tests, and from the test try to learn it. So whatever the source you are reading, that is first source. Second, you will do the quiz. Third, test. So these 3 things are more than sufficient to deal with your current affairs. And I'll tell you what's the problem that generally happens is that any magazine that comes, like people take up compilations, right? So you'll go for compilations that like 1 year-long compilations of XYZ institute. These compilations come somewhere around end of Feb or beginning of March. They want to cover the economic survey, budget and everything, and they want to release. After this, the time available is very less. So when you pick that, what happens is that student won't be able to read with peace of mind. Whatever you read with peace of mind, that will be very clear to you in the exam hall also. But when you are rushing through it, you won't be clear. You'll know that you have read this topic, but you don't know the answer. This happens to most of the people. You have read this topic. I know, I have heard it. I've seen it somewhere in XYZ book, but I don't remember. This comes because of lack of multiple iterations or revisions. So in order to deal this, see, from my end, this is completely free of cost. Why am I doing this current affairs? Actually, I'm a teacher of anthropology. So I teach anthropology. And many of my students, see, many of the students have cleared mains and they're giving interview. But I know many good students, many good students who have the potential to get rank below 100 rank. I'm very sure this year, definitely they'll clear prelims and they'll. but they have failed in prelims. Then that is the main reason or main motive that I felt very bad that somehow I should make them clear prelims this year at any cost. So when I thought I'll do it for them, I thought let me do for everyone also. So for current affairs, what we are doing is, so there is one initiative. News Sense by Aswiti the AS. This is the Telegram ID. News Sense by so this is the Telegram channel ID. So here what I've done is daily I'm posting some 10 to 15 questions. Already complete May topics are covered. So like this, if you go through 10 to 15 topics, all the topics are covered there. And these videos also I'll be doing, and I'll be covering all the current affairs over there. So you can go and see that. See what is the ultimate goal of any student. It should be very easy, simple, covering all the important things, easy to read. So my target was also for one topic, first reading should not take more than 1 minute. So 1 minute, one topic. And next reading, when you are revising, you have to focus on important keywords. So those things, if you are doing, then your current affairs is done. So here I am providing you with the source link from which newspaper I am taking and what is the link. You can go and check. If you feel it's not important, you can ignore. Telegram, I think. Yeah, I'll just share the screen. Telegram. Or else I'll show you the document. Just give me a second. So how we are doing it. So, the program, the name of the program is No Nonsense, Only Nuisance.
Now, you do them. Next time when we meet for next after prelims, you come and meet us. If you don't feel like, sir, what you say or not used to them, we did it. We never do it. No prelims. But every time we do, see, this is what is working for. It's not something which has created. That is existing here. I'm telling you, we are not getting whatever other topics did, we did. We also do it clear. We also created. We also do it. Nothing great about it. So whatever we have spoken, we have worked it out. Try to recollect, remember, follow it. Unless until you follow it, there is no purpose. You know, checking on that, no use. Right? So if you're not interested in particular correct, so that is the reason I say, oh, check, listen, you will understand. Right? If you see whatever gets written that document, I've seen that. I'll share it in my channel also. That is very good idea. The source is very important. From where you are reading the info or the then you are remember it.
And one more thing with respect to geography mapping. You know Sandeep Mahajan sir, right? Sir will be dealing with it. So this is what I have been preparing. Already 6 months of current affairs is ready. May to October is done. So what we'll do this new year, from our end, we are giving this contribution for you people so that you can utilize it maximum. Okay. So here, these are the subtopics and topics. So this is science and tech. See, you can see that directly. What is it? What exactly? See, what they'll ask. They'll ask you either examples. So these are the adsorbents, or they'll ask you what are its applications. They'll give one statement, or they'll ask you what is it, and you can see what is antares. So like this, you have a liquid nitrogen. What are its uses? How it should be handled? See, what happens when it's given is a complete page, you don't know which line to focus. And then you have to first read, then you have to underline, then you have to highlight, then you have to write it in a separate notes. This will take most of the time. So my intention was that when I was doing the problems that I was suffering, I don't want the students who are doing it now to suffer. So there are some questions, that's why I keep visiting this area. Mic is off. So I'll share the Telegram channel link in the Zoom.
Once I said, once you come here, go on class, this is what I have mentioned. Here, then we some important learning. This day, final day should be some.
So you can see here that, see, for the first month, I forgot to paste the source links, but after that, you'll see the source links for each and every topic. So I think that's in different document, but this is complete 6 months of science and technology. Okay, so I've done it with source links. This in this document it's missing. So there every important topic is covered. So what is it? What's its objective? What are its components? Directly you can finish it one topic in 1 minute. So there will be around 200 topics. Keep 3 hours, finish science and technology. So within 1 week, 6 months of current affairs is done. So after that, total time should go for revision. So every day keep half an hour, complete one subject revision. So you will be able to revise at least 4 to 5 times, minimum 4 to 5 times. Somebody who is very good sitting for 10 hours, they can do even 10 times also. Who is doing 8 hours, they'll be able to do 4 to 5 times. So this is 6 months. And then next, after the budget and economic survey, I'll be providing you with next updated version. That is November, December, January, February. And 2 months, what we'll do is that we'll publish online only. This, I'll try to make it into magazine, what do you call, PDF, handbook format, so that it's easy to read. I'm not trying to compress it. See, you might be thinking that it's bulky, but in one page, you have only 2 topics and 2 tables. Because I want you to feel easy while reading. Because you can see some of the institute magazines, they compress it so much. It's not even good to read also. So around 545 pages in this manner when it compresses. So now it will come around to 450. So 450 for 6 months, another 350 for next 6 months. So around 800 pages. 800 pages means you can see the amount of information here in each page. Hardly 2 to 3 topics you have in each page. It's not too much. Or else these 2 can come till half page. Yeah, you can see the sources also. It's visible, right? Yeah, see, this source is Hindu. Like you can click on this link. Actually, this is Word. I'm not able to open here. So, but this is the source. Like for every topic, the source is mentioned. Subatomic particles and growth India telescope. So everywhere source is mentioned. So this way, what you can do is that 6 months current affairs is done and next 4 months will come. So current affairs will be done easily. So static part, so now I just want to tell you, 2 hours you are giving for current affairs, right? At least I'm assuming 8 hours you'll dedicate. And somebody who is sincere, they can dedicate 10 hours. So out of this 8 hours, 2 hours is being consumed by your current affairs with practice, revision. Next, you have 6 hours. 6 hours. And out of this 6 hours, half an hour should go for your PYQs daily. It's the breakfast of the day. Only after PYQs, you can go for other things. First, and PYQs always has to be present on your table. This is the primary rule. PYQs should be on the table irrespective of what you are reading. Okay? PYQs. Then you take up the static topic, whatever you are reading. You take any subject according to the schedule you have planned and dedicate at least 1 to 1.5 hours for revision. Okay, so don't keep on reading throughout the day. That doesn't give you completion. You will feel happy, you will feel knowledgeable, intelligent, but not satisfied, not confident. Confidence comes when you revise. Okay, then only you will be able to give test. So that's why dedicate 1.5 hours for revision. So this is how you can plan your day. You can make changes according to you. So,
Next 5 months, that was our prelims workshop which we are seeing. So next 5 months, what we have to do is like what we plan for our mentorship and all program, that every week you will focus on one particular subject. That 1 week you have to finish it. You will revise it, you will attempt questions, you will done daily test, you will done weekly test, that subject will be done. Right? You will do current affairs within that 1 week and all, then we'll go for the another week. This is what you have to do. Even if you don't join our program or anything also, anywhere also, follow this. 1 week, one subject. Not like today you read something, tomorrow you read something else. You do not revise properly, you do not focus on current affairs properly, you do not focus on PYQs. This random will not work. 1 week, focus on PYQs every day, focus on daily tests, focus on content. You attempt at the end of the week, you attempt one sectional test, done. See, this is what we want to inculcate in your the strategy. Hope you understand. The next 5 months will be like that. 1 week, one subject. So by that, we have divided. See, our program I have shared it on channel and all. We are divided into number of tests and all sections, like 14 sections or 18 sections, whatever we did it. Number of this full length and all. So anywhere if you find these kind of things, you follow. This will definitely.
Yeah, sir will be taking last 5 minutes. Now I'll tell you one thing that, see, first we have seen what sources we have to follow, where to emphasize, how much time has to be dedicated. This we have known. That's the main objective. So now these are the things that has to be done. You can do it from anywhere, and you can do it by self also. But from our end, what we have thought is that, see, not all people will be able to find the right guidance, right strategy. They might be missing. So there are many people who come to us, especially despite me being anthropology teacher, many students come to me, okay, and they ask, sir, somehow do something for prelims. That is the reason. See, we also limited our batch students. It's maximum of 50 because we want the result. It's not profit-oriented program because 50 students and our target is to get the maximum result. Whoever is coming to us, we want to ensure that they clear the prelims. That is the motive. So this session is not about telling about our program, but to tell you about what has to be done. So we have given that. And second thing is that current affairs part, irrespective of you join or you don't join, that's from our end, it's free always. Okay. And in the program, what we are going to do, so we have prelims mentorship program. So in this prelims mentorship program, which is going to start from Jan 5th. See, our target is, now some people were saying that we can't read the bulky notes. Okay. And some people are saying that the books are very disinteresting. We can't read it again and again. So these were some of the things that they were saying. So in order to address it, see, we have faced all these issues when we have started. We have given all our attempts and we know that we have struggled much. And we don't want you to struggle. For that, for current affairs, that's what I was doing. So current affairs is one of the area where generally people get stuck. And I want to ensure that current affairs is no more an issue for any of you. That was a major objective. And for this, see, because nobody can do it for free. So people think that 900 rupees, 800 rupees test series. See, how much worth is your 1 year of time? 1 year of your time, is it valued at 300 or 400? If you don't clear your exam, whom are you going to blame? Whom will you blame? The XYZ institute or the person or yourself? So blame is not going to help in any way. So whatever the actions we take, we should take with a caution. So what we have decided is that we try to ensure that first, for the prelims, I told you PYQs is most important thing. So what we have done is that topic-wise PYQs, polity, economy, topic-wise PYQs, we as a part of the program gave 20 questions each day with, see, out of that you will have some 10 to 12 PYQs and PYQ related topics what are there in the current for practice those questions also. So questions and solutions have been provided every day 20 questions. So in this strategy, what they'll do, every day you'll solve 20 questions, PYQs, you learn PYQs, and then you'll get to know what exactly has to be focused. So this will be your starting part of your day. Okay, then you'll go to your static resource and you'll study the static. Somebody who don't want to follow any resource, we have made the static notes, which is very comprehensive. This would be very much sufficient. We are giving static notes for all the syllabus, and there is so much haphazardness in the books, right? So they'll give one content here, one content there. But we try to club most of the things into one place in the tabular format, just like I have shown you, right? So in the current affairs. In the similar manner, static notes has also been made. Okay, so for each topic, static notes will be given. So you'll see now I've shared already polity strategy, 14 days how you should cover. Okay, so now you plan your 7 days and you try to give the test. Then you have current affairs test. After reading static notes, you will revise for 1 to 1.5 hours. This you did it for half an hour to 40 minutes. You did it for 4 hours static notes, 1.5 hour for revision, then 2 hours of current affairs. Already 6 months is given. By the time you finish that, other months will be released. That also you'll finish it parallelly. Revision, reading, and daily you're already doing PYQs and some CA questions. And at the weekend, you have the tests. So test covers static, CSAT, and especially this is the general thing. So 8 hours everybody has to give. And somebody who feels that they're weak at CSAT, I feel that they should dedicate more time. They should give around 9.5 to 10 hours, at least for starting 2-3 months. See, what people will do, they'll study more at the end. No, you should study more at the beginning and reduce your time at the end. Because now, whatever you are doing, you'll read with more composure. When you're calm and composed, whatever you are receiving will have the highest productivity. I was telling you effectiveness. So the effectiveness is maximum when you are little far away from the exam. So now, whatever the CSAT is there, Sir will help you, especially Sir will deal CSAT also. Now he'll tell you about CSAT. So that CSAT part, how to deal, Sir will be telling you. So that CSAT also, by dedicating 1 to 1.5 hours extra, in 2 months, you can easily cover your CSAT. And CSAT tests are also there to practice. And at the end, we have grant tests also in the exam mode. Okay, so you can offline, online, like depending upon your choice. If you are feeling that you are not finding the right guidance, okay. See here, this is completely result-oriented program. If somebody is coming to us, we expect that you be serious and do things regularly. If you are not serious, I tell you now itself that please don't choose the program itself. Because there was one student who has come, was not interested to work at all. So we don't want that kind of people. See, what's the general motive of any programs in the market? Enrolling as many number as people. But we want to limit it to maximum of 50. Because if you are interested to work, then only you can take it. We want the result. Not just you, we want the result. Right? So let's crack it together. If you have any issue, if you are having right guidance and already you have right approach, you do not come. But if you are feeling that you lack it, you lack current affairs notes or static notes or any help with respect to CSAT, and directly you have the ranker here, faculty here, who will interact with you. You see anywhere, it's very difficult to talk to any teacher. You go and talk in any institution. How much time teacher will dedicate to you, you can check. So we want to avoid that by limiting the number of students, because there are many number of students, 200, 300, any teacher cannot spend time with all of them, not even remember their names. So that's why we have limited. If you have good guidance, well and good. If you don't have, we have the help for you. So you can approach this as well. So this is the thing. And sir will take up CSAT, and you can ask your CSAT doubts.
24. So I'll directly discuss with the 24 CSAT paper. That will be more useful, right? Shiva,
Yeah, there is a question in the Zoom that they're asking CA PDFs are not there in the channel. So PDFs, like I'm publishing it as a book, so you can purchase the book direct. Okay, so I'll post the link of the book, because PDFs will not help in any way. My intention is that you should have a hard copy. Hard copy will make you to put pen on the paper. When you put pen on the paper, the memory is long term. So that's the ultimate intention. Then there won't be any point. People will take the PDFs, they'll circulate, and what they'll do, they'll store it in their memory, and again they'll do the next experiment.
ఎక్కడ ఇది 24 paper open. See, again, note it down. Just take one page again. Just one page. I'll clearly explain. I'll make it very simple, CSAT. You don't have to worry about CSAT. I'll tell you why. I am from non-maths background. Like till 10th, everyone must have studied maths, right? After that, I completely was into, I took CEC, then after that history, MA history, and optional history, everything. So I have no relation with this maths and all. Yet I cleared it 4 times out of my 5 serious attempts. One attempt was I just gave, right? So out of 5, I could clear CSAT 4 times. I'll tell you, I have not with great margin, but decent margin. But again, simple, not to worry much. If you worry much, CSAT will kill you. If you take stress, on the exam day itself, you're out. You won't be able to attempt questions also. Because I've seen those who are prepared, went to exam hall, because of stress, they attempt only 30, 35 questions. Because they did not have any strategy. They thought, I'll do it. Those from math background or those who are prepared well also, they thought they'll do it easily. But no strategy, how to do it. No, you can't go like that. CSAT, remember. Notes. Okay. No, right. Hold on. So CSAT. Simple 80 questions. Make it very simple. I'm telling you, so 80, just note it down again in your page also. Even if you know it, even if you know it, just note it down. CSAT 80 questions, right? Comprehension, how many questions? 27 to 28 max. No 30.
Yeah.
Very rarely, but 20 average, we'll take average only. 27, 28, right? Comprehension. Then quant and reasoning, the rest of them. How many? Like 52, right? Out of this quant also, reasoning almost 25, 26 reasoning questions will be there. So equally they have divided. Quant, pure quant, like this arithmetic. Arithmetic will be again 25, 26. Reasoning, verbal, non-verbal reasoning, logical reasoning, everything will be there 25, 26. Even if you focus on these two, almost 52, 54 questions, 54 covered here itself. Some questions here, 5 to 10 questions you can easily attempt. Quant also. Even if you do not attempt, you have enough. And how many questions are required to clear? Tell me. Go with this logic. Now, our aim is not to get 150, 130 or something. Don't go with that kind of objective. Our objective is very clear. How to get 27 correct, right? 27. So let's make it 28, right? Let's make it 28 questions. Decent enough, right? So how can you get out of this 50, 53 comprehension and logical reasoning? We have them. From there itself, we can crack them, right? Now, simply again, comprehension 27, 28, right? Out of them, they have divided into 4 types. Remember, previous day also when I discussed about CSAT, I have explained. Comprehension is not one. Comprehensions are 4 types of, like 4 types of comprehension passages are given. 4 or 5. Or okay, let's say 4. What are they? One will be inference, right? One will be assumptions, statements questions will be there. Then you have corollary. Another last one is critical message, critical idea, message of the passage. These are the 4 or 5 types of passages, right? And remember, you must attempt all the comprehension. You must attempt. Only 1 or 2 you can leave it. Max 1 or 2 you can leave. Rest of them you should attempt, because sometimes maths will be even logic and reasoning will be very tough. Tough in the sense that time taking. You will be able to answer it. You have to spend 5 minutes on one question. Better you do this. Minimum. See, the point is that ultimately we have to come to how many questions? 45. This would be a good number. If you have attempted 45 questions, like how I'll tell you what type of questions and all. Out of this 45, 25 to 26 minimum from comprehension. Rest 20 will be from reasoning and quant. 15 from reasoning, 5 from quant. So you have to select those questions. There will be definitely easy questions from quant also, reasoning and comprehension. This will be normal. Like there will be pattern. We'll talk about that pattern, right? So clearly, how many questions you have to attempt? Minimum. This is minimum. If you go beyond above this, well and good. Can some people attempt 55 also, 50 also, but minimum number of questions you should come to 45, right? Then how many questions you have to attempt from comprehension? 25 minimum. Only 1 or 2 you have to leave. Otherwise, it will be risky. Sometimes you won't be able to attempt 20 questions from quant and reasoning. It can be up to 10 or 15 only. So sometimes it can come up to 40 when it becomes very, very tough. It was 22, 23, they were all tough, right? 21, 22, 23, they're all tough, even if you come between 40 to 45. But accuracy matters now. When you are attempting these many questions, accuracy. How to improve accuracy? First, you know what to attempt. What type of questions you have to attempt. See, comprehension, anyway, you're going to attempt all. Now, rest 20, 25 questions you have to pick before going to the examination. You know, because those questions will come, definitely. Those questions will come. You check for the last 4 or 5 years. This is your work. Go, sit, take 4 or 5 years of PYQs, leave comprehension now. Quant and reasoning, 52, 53 questions are there. From there, you try to find the pattern. There will be common questions, easy questions, rounded. You have to practice them again and again. For example, it's a calendar question. I said, you must learn calendar very, very clear. There will be a calendar question. Go and check once. Right? Then, syllogisms. That is what the dog is cow, cow is table, all these things. 2 or 3 questions will come. Right? You have to prepare them very well. Once the question comes, you should not make any mistake. This is how you have to improve your accuracy. Because our questions are limited now. You can't take risk. So our concept should be very clear. This way, now you have to prepare calendar, syllogisms, and there will be one numerical questions where, like for example, 90 into 91 into 92 into what comes at the digits, like what you call last one units digit, right? There will be a pattern. Again, you solve them, you will understand. So this way, again, one rotation, like seating arrangement will be there. Every year you will be seating. Then alphabets, that is there. Then you have this what you called complete the sequence, right? Coding, decoding. Then what else do you need? Why you people are worried about CSAT? I don't understand. You got this? This is the work you have to do. Once you do this, after 1 week, you tell me whether it has become easy or not. Comprehension, let us come to comprehension 25, right? I said you have inference, you have assumption, statement-based questions, corollary, critical idea. What is inference? What is inference? Anything you derive with certain logic. I have given one statement. There is one conclusion. This conclusion should derive based on some logic. I cannot come to a conclusion without logic. I read something. I came to a conclusion. On what basis? There is some logic and reason behind that. That we call inference. There is no logic, then that is not correct. So those questions, definitely there should be some logic in this kind of questions we'll deal with. I'll tell you. Assumptions. Assumption, no need of logic and all. I can assume. You can assume something. I can assume something. Right? So you have a statement. So assumption without logic also it's correct. That is just assumption. I'm just assuming it. I don't need have to show some proof for it. Right? So this is different passage. This is how you have to attempt those assumption kind of passages. Corollary. Already there is one conclusion. From that one conclusion, I have to come to another conclusion. Based on one conclusion, I have to come to another conclusion. That is corollary. So now I'm not deriving directly, but there is one conclusion from there. So that will be another kind of passages. Then critical idea. Almost 5 questions, 6 questions, 7 questions will be critical idea. What is that? He will talk about, for example, agriculture. I said agriculture, food processing he will be talking. You will get confused whether this agriculture is the major idea or the food processing is the major idea. Got it? He'll confuse. He'll mix it completely. He'll talk about agriculture. He'll talk about food processing. By the end of the time, he'll ask you what is the major idea of this passage? Improving the agriculture, developing food processing industry. Very close again. But for that you need repeated reading. There will be one pattern again for this. The way they frame the statement, the passage is common. Every year, the way they ask these passages are common again. Study them. First, you solve them. Like PYQs already, solutions will be there. Just mark them answers. Read question and answer 4 or 5 times. You will understand the pattern. This is how he is coming to conclusion. Right? Done. Simply you do this. Those who are scoring 30, 40, 50, 60, you will improve it definitely. Very clearly, I am telling you. Avoid this time management. Very, very important time management. Don't attempt questions which you have not practiced before going to the examination hall, especially quant. Calendar you have practiced, immediately you attempt it. Some questions you have not practiced. Why you have to choose them? Why you have to spend time on them? Those questions you have not practiced. You will not get it. Something question may look very easy. Don't attempt it. Once you get into that, you will spend 5 to 10 minutes. This is what people have done previously. In the previous examination, they failed it. Right? You should avoid that mistake. Only those questions you have practiced very well. And those questions will be repeated. That's it. Any doubts? Let me show you 1, 2 questions here. Yeah. What's passage? This passage 1, right? See, let's see. According to Food and Agriculture Organization, 1/3 of the food produced for human consumption. So this is something. This here, see what is the important thing? Inference. They are asking about inference. So these 2 statements should come with certain logic only. They should be related to this passage only. You can't assume something out of this passage. You read this complete passage. 1/3 of the food produced for human consumption is lost or wasted. Again, underline. While reading itself, underline it. Important keywords. Okay. Right? Waste throughout the supply chain. Right? From initial production to household consumption. The increasing wastage also results in land degradation. Keywords: land degradation. 45. They mainly due to deforestation, unsustainable agriculture practices, excessive groundwater extraction. The energy spent over wasted food results in about 3.1 billion tons of carbon dioxide production. Another keyword here: carbon dioxide. Decay also leads to harmful emissions, other gas in the atmosphere. Address the loss and wastage of the food in the farm, critical to complete the cycle of food sufficiency. See, while reading itself, I'm just looking at the keywords. What is the major purpose of this passage? Right? I've underlined it. Immediately, if you once you no need to read. Sometimes what if you have less time? Once you underline, you just look at the question, this keywords. Then you look at the statements. It will be easy for you. Right? The current methods of food distribution are solely. Where did they mention solely? Anywhere we have seen? This statement is wrong or not? There is no solely. It can be one of the reasons, but that is not the only sole reason. Eliminate it. Land productivity is adversely affected by the prevailing trend of food loss and wastage. Yes, this is mentioned, right? Because of these practices only, this like productivity is adversely affected loss and wastage. Because of this loss and wastage, land productivity is affected. That is mentioned here. Just read the passage again. Got it? Answer done. So be critical while reading the passages. Underline the keywords, whether that they're mentioned or not, what they are asking, inference or not. Assumption will be different again. I'll be dealing assumption differently. The same passage, same statements, that will be assumption would be different. Why assumption? I can assume indirectly somewhere I can link. Simply, this is the thing you have to do. You have to check this inference, passage, keywords, done. Right? I won't take much time. Let's wind it up here, and other things we can discuss on channel and all. Now we can have a question and answer session. Any important questions we'll answer, because almost we have covered extensively. I think more than enough. Once you go out, you have very good clarity, I believe. Yes or no? We have clarity over this prelims. Next prelims. Any important question we'll answer.
So they were asking that where can we get the videos of this current affairs where you'll be posting? There is a channel. Yeah, this is a channel. You can go through, subscribe to it, and here I'll be posting all the current affairs videos. Okay, so anybody who is interested to watch, because some people feel like watching the videos rather than reading. Okay, so some people are interested in reading. So those who are interested in reading, they can go through. If they want to follow daily, they can go through the channel. If they want to read the book, they can go for the compilation. If they want to watch the videos, they can go for YouTube. There will be posting it. And with respect to mentorship course and other details are already mentioned there. And Sir also has posted in his group. So I'll be posting the link here as well. Anybody who needs help, they can approach. And or else you can ask the questions for the help you need.
Questions? Hope is clear. Or you want to make that can be a reason. Start from January. See, that is what you can start like from January itself. See, those who are new, those who are giving first attempt, they have to start early. Right? Those who have done previously, those who have cleared, even if they start in February or March, it's fine. I used to start initially I started in December, January when I gave my second attempt, because I was afraid of this exam, so I want to begin early. I want to understand the process. Once I started clearing prelims, I used to start 1 month, 1.5 months before the exam, because I was very good with this basics, NCRTs, PYQs, and all through. Right. So now you decide when to start. Your first attempt, second attempt can start from January, Feb. Right. Anything else? Anthro. So, Sir will answer.
And anthro questions will deal at them. So this is specific to prelims.
Yeah.
It's not the option of part two.
See, that is what I'm saying.
Video. How to balance the optional with the prelims.
Yeah. Prelims related question for 25 attempt. Exam, see, you practice it before you go to the exam. Now more take 4 or 5 years. the CSAT paper, solve it again and again, five times, 6 times. Spend 1-2 hours every day. Now, those who are not good at CSAT, every day you spend 1.5 hour, minimum 1.5 hour. Basic maths you should have. Like if you do not have basic maths, take some quant book. I said percentage, all these averages, ratio proportions, number system, basically number system, LCM, HCF. This should be mandatory. This is must for an officer, right? Even whether asked or not, right? You do that. So, and take 4-5 years of paper. Every day you solve only. Don't do anything. First you solve it, then you'll understand. As I say, whatever I showed, like however I did, you do that. Anything? So shall we leave? 26 attempt. I'll discuss personal, not for the whole audience. Those where we can ask informal, we can stay here. You ask me, I'll explain. Let's keep it to 25 attempt prelims, right? Right. Thank you so much.
Students are asking what. Okay, so I forgot to introduce myself. Now I see some messages. They're asking what's my name. Myself, Shiva Teja, faculty for anthropology, essay. So I was working previously in Delhi Sunya IAS. I wrote anthropology books of Sunya IAS. So now I've shifted to Hyderabad and I'm teaching in Delhi as well. So ASVT is the current institution. So I'm Shiva Teja. So that with very good intention, we thought that something we can do which can bring an outcome. Okay, generally we see many things in the market. So we thought something good can be done. That's the reason we took an initiative. Otherwise, our main focus is always on mains only. We don't emphasize much on prelims. Every time, if we want to help anyone, we'll definitely go for mains only. Even he has scored very good in ethics, GS3, GS1. So he has scored well in those areas, essay. So
nobody knows like, what actually is happening. It's very difficult to crack the code. But I have enough, both of us have enough knowledge, experience. We thought we'll do something. Even if two students take here.
2 seconds, I'll just wind up for all. So if you have any further doubts, I have already given you the number. So you can use this number to contact if you have any further doubts or any further help you need for prelims. See, don't message asking random things, please, because we are seriously intended to do something. But don't make it a fun also, because we don't have time, because there are so many other classes also that has to be taken. So any serious help you need, seriously you are lacking something, serious guidance, serious help, definitely you can reach out and we'll try to help whatever the possible way. And that's all for online students. Thank you.